Example 1a, factor xy minus 5y minus 2x plus 10. We will factor out this problem using factor by grouping. We will go ahead and group the first two terms using parentheses and also group the next two terms using parentheses. If we do, we will have the following: parentheses xy minus 5y, close parentheses, plus, open parentheses, negative 2x plus 10. So we have grouped the first two terms and grouped the next two terms. Anytime we group, we will put a plus in the middle. The next step is to look at each group and find the greatest common factor. So if we look at the first group, we have xy and 5y. What do they have in common? They have a y in common. We will factor that out. If we do, we're left with y times x minus 5. The next group, if we look at it, we have negative 2x and 10. As we know, 10 is 5 times 2. Hence, the greatest common factor between these two terms is a 2. It is recommended that whenever you have a negative, you also factor out the negative. So we will factor out negative 2 from these two terms. If we do, we're left with negative 2 parentheses x minus 5. Now, the next step is to look at the problem as a whole. So we have this part, and we have to look at the greatest common factor between those two parts. What do these two parts have in common? X minus 5. So we'll go ahead and factor that out. So we will be left with x minus 5 in parentheses times y minus 2. So if we factor xy minus 5y minus 2x plus 10 by grouping, we get x minus 5 times y minus 2 as our result. Don't forget, we can always check our work. We could check our work by multiplying, and if we multiply these two together and get the original problem, then we have done it correctly. Example 1b. Factor x squared plus 4x minus x minus 4. We will factor by grouping, so we'll group the first two terms, parentheses x squared plus 4x, close parentheses, plus, open parentheses, negative x minus 4. If we look at the first group and we look for the greatest common factor, we have x squared and 4x. They have x in common, so we could factor x out, leaving us with x plus 4. Next group, we look at negative x, negative 4. What do they have in common? They have in common the negative 1. So we will factor out a negative 1, leaving us with x plus 4. Now that we have factored the greatest common factor from each group, now we will look at the problem as a whole. So we have this, and we need a greatest common factor. As we can see, what they have in common is the x plus 4. So we will factor out x plus 4, and what we would be left with in parentheses, x minus 1. So we factor x squared plus 4x minus x minus 4. We're left with x plus 4 times x minus 1 as our answer.